From the Marquee Media Studio inside Mark Tank, it's the Mark Haney Show.
Yes, this is the Mark Haney Show on a mission to ignite the entrepreneurial revolution right here in the hometown we love. And we do that by building the Backyard Advantage, the most connected community in the world for local entrepreneurs. And at the heart of the advantage is people that believe in our backyard, people that are invested into our backyard, and really feel this, I guess, sense of duty to do the right thing for their hometown. And with us today is Brad Squires. He exemplifies the backyard in so many ways. He's the CEO of Social Venture Partners of Sacramento. He's also the founder of and CEO of the Orangevale Community Foundation, of the Fair Oaks Community Foundation. He also owns Heirloom Acres farm. Yeah. He's had some great success building software companies, and now he is big time giving back. We're going to talk about that today. Welcome to the show.
Sounds good, Mark. Thanks for having me.
Thank you for being on the show, Brad. I don't know how I did on my intro. Maybe just give us a little of your background, because you've had some good success in the technology industry, and now you're part of the growth factory for sure, but you are building this backyard advantage for charities and creating an entrepreneurial sort of approach to how we deal with philanthropy. So maybe give us your pathway into this stuff you're working on.
Yeah, so background in technology, entrepreneur. I started a software company with a friend of mine in college, actually. It was a B2B SaaS company for facility maintenance management. Super niche, a little bit kind of quirky, but we did great. It was enterprise asset management. We had schools, hospitals, manufacturing companies, cities, all asset heavy, infrastructure heavy companies using their software for work orders, maintenance management, preventive maintenance.
So kind of using it internally predominantly, and maybe some external?
OpEx. OpEx type software. Mm-hmm. So anyway, had a great time running that for about 15 years. Grew it. We were fortunate to sell that company a number of years ago, which has afforded me some time to be able to invest more of my time into philanthropic work. And so, then 12 years ago, I started the food bank in Orangevale. That was concurrently with this software company. I live in Orangevale. It's kind of our backyard, truly. And I thought, hey, what better way to make a difference than do something that, like, build a food bank? And there was a bit of a gap. There wasn't a food bank.
And the food bank serves people that are hungry and can't get the food.
Yeah, it's just, anybody who's kind of down on their luck just needs a little bit of help. We offer, fresh, healthy food. And they can come once a month and pick up a couple bags of groceries, and it helps them kind of get through the month.
Yeah. Are you still involved in that?
I am. Yeah. And so we did that. We built a farm next door, a 1-acre veggie farm that grows for the food bank. So we got all these different volunteer things within Orangevale. And then a couple years ago, I thought, I'd love to be more involved in the region. And then I ran across Social Venture Partners and thought, well, this is a really cool platform that's doing ecosystem level work in the nonprofit sphere, helping to connect people that care about nonprofit organizations and helping to organize and align donor resources to collectively invest into the nonprofits here in Sacramento. And so we serve the Sacramento, Placer, El Dorado, Yolo County, so 4-county region. So there's literally 15,000 nonprofits in the 4-county region. So there's tons of organizations that need support, and that's what we're there for.
So I was involved in Social Venture Partners a number of years ago, and while I was involved, there was a focus on charitable organizations that had a focus on education.
Yep.
How do you break down, let's say, your portfolio, if you will?
Yeah, so the way we do it right now is I came in 2 years ago and we kind of restructured things in where we have a fund, kind of an annual fund approach, and then we have a prospectus or mission statement for the fund every year. So
a little bit like a venture capital group,
exactly like a venture
and you
capital.
Make these investments, and alongside the investments, they get some of you too. Financial investments and some people investments.
Yes, exactly. So we talk about investing in nonprofit capacity, and for me that means financial, but it's also social equity and also technical capacity. If we can help connect dots, people that care about causes that are connected, and we can get them more plugged in with nonprofits and where they care about these causes, it helps really amplify their work.
Yeah. So how do you choose? So in venture capital, we choose the companies that we invest into based upon their ability to grow, their ability to become more valuable. Ultimately, we want to get a return for our shareholders or our limited partners. So we're investing into winners, or hopefully they're going to be winners. Yeah. Do you take a similar approach in terms of like investing into winners?
So the way we do it right now is the starting point is a program called Fast Pitch. Okay. And so we get, we just chose our class of 2024 for Fast Pitch. We have 15 organizations that are going to go through this program. And there were 50 plus applicants that said they wanted to apply. And it was a really tough process to find 15 that were a good fit.
You got to get the best. Yeah.
Yeah. And so we went through an interview process. We looked at their 990 forms. We interviewed their leadership, kind of like you do anytime you're looking to vet investments. Now, we're not investing for a financial return. We're investing for a social return. So these are still donations. But the way it works is our partners, we pool our funds. So the partners are the investors in this fund, and every year we have a new fund. And then our goal is to just invest that whole fund into the programs. And so Fast Pitch is our starting point for organizations to jump in and be part of.
All right, so let's talk about Fast Pitch. Well, I'll probably circle around a little bit on this topic, because if you have never been to Fast Pitch, it is electrifying. I was lucky enough to be a judge 1 or 2 years, so I was involved in it at some level. But it's like a pitch competition, like Shark Tank, I suppose, except for the pitches are just so heartwarming, because the companies that these nonprofits and these charitable organizations, they are changing lives in a way that really pulls on the heartstrings, and the presenters are as good as anybody that pitches to me as an investor. Yeah. These pitches are top notch.
They are. And that program alone, just consider the fact of, like, if you put that time in to get your story to a concise, compelling 3-minute pitch, what can that do for these nonprofits to take that to potential donors, new potential volunteers, grant funders? It helps them build their capacity, build their board. So they become powerful.
Better. They prepare for Fast Pitch to go out there in front of this enormous audience, and then it just helps. It helps the organization beyond Fast Pitch.
Yeah. And not to mention, so we pair every nonprofit with 2 of our partners and 2 coaches. So the coaches come alongside them, and they help draw out their why and try to figure out, how do we tell this story in a really good, concise, compelling way? And it's super meaningful for the partners that get a chance to come alongside these organizations and use their business skill sets alongside these nonprofit organizations' mission, and really help to amplify the work that they're doing. So super powerful. We've got, of course, the Fast Pitch happening. This is our 10th year.
Okay, when is it?
We've got there's a launch party happening August 21st.
Okay.
And then we've got the showcase November 7th.
November 7th.
So November 7th will be the big showcase at the Sophia downtown. Super fun event.
What's the Sophia? Well, last time I was there, was at Golden One.
Yeah, B Street Theater.
Oh, yeah.
B Street
okay,
Theater,
so it's kind of like in the round type thing?
Yeah, it's a cool venue for that.
Oh, interesting. Yeah. Okay. So it'll feel crowded in there then.
Yeah. It'll be packed house. And the whole idea is that event, like you said, it's kind of like TED Talk, Shark Tank for nonprofits. And so out of the 15, the top 8 go on stage, get to present their pitch in front of a live audience. The audience is there also on their phones, having access to make donations live. And you see a leaderboard up on the screen just to see who's, raising what money. And so the whole goal is partly to raise some funds, but it's also raising awareness. And again, the program itself is so fantastic to get to their pitch.
So if somebody shows up and they don't know that they want to donate, but does it cost money to get in? And then can they just put in like $10, or they can put in like a certain minimum number?
No minimum. The event itself, I don't know, it's for $50 or something.
$50 to come in, okay.
And then the event itself is not very expensive, and you don't have to donate. It's just optional, but it's fun. It's fun to be part of that and kind of share in the philanthropy together. When
I was there in the past, I remember seeing people like wearing team shirts. I can't remember which nonprofit it was, but they're like a certain little section of people all wearing a yellow shirt.
They bring their cheering crowd.
So it's kind of got almost like a high school basketball game feel at some level, even though it's all positive. Everybody, they're rooting for everybody.
Yeah, I try not to make it too competitive, although it ends up being a little bit. But it's really, you've got multiple organizations all doing great work. I mean, I left the last one going, how can I just support all of these great causes? Because again, they're vetted. We know they're run by great leaders. They've got a good board. They're financially, fiscally responsible. So these are organizations that are worth investing in. And so we give the audience a chance to, choose how they want to plug in. So yeah.
Who are some of the companies? So let's talk about your current portfolio fund. So you last year you must have done Fast Pitch and then put the money and invested the money into some nonprofits. Who are they? How are they doing? Can you give us a couple of examples?
Yeah, so we had 15 organizations that went through Fast Pitch last year. I know just off the top of my head, Opening Doors was one, Sacramento Splash. There's a variety of them. They're all on our website.
They're not all educational focused like what I'm remembering from years past.
Yeah, so again, each year's fund has its own mission statement. So last year's mission statement was around kids and education.
Okay.
And we did the same thing this year. That's become likely the mission statement going forward, but we've designed our process so in the future we might pick a year and go, hey, let's do something on health equity or something different. But
so it has to be
still
kids
and
education, or could it be kids or education?
Kids, education, workforce development, kind of.
Because I have a veteran education organization. It's a nonprofit. I wonder if they might be a fit at some point.
Yeah, we try to just tie it back loosely to how is this making the lives of underserved children better in some way.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah, we're more like adults. So we're
focused around at this point kids. But again, I've designed this so that our fund, maybe next year we decide, let's do a year on veterans. And we find 15 organizations that are veteran focused to then recruit some partners and invest those funds together. So
I interrupted you. You were describing some of the companies you invested into.
Yeah, so Opening Doors, Sacramento Splash, Single Mom Strong, Food Literacy Center.
All right, tell me about Single Mom Strong. What do they do? That sounds really intriguing.
Single Mom Strong is an organization that's focused around obviously supporting single moms. They've got a preschool, but they've also got a great community of moms that are supporting each other. They provide free daycare, healthcare, support for that community.
I like the name. It's kind of like it makes you, some people, sometimes we name our organizations, you can't tell quite what it is.
Yeah.
But Single Mom Strong, it's like, I immediately identifying with that person.
And they've built a community of moms that that need that extra support, and they've got all sorts of resources, events, and collaborative opportunities to help the moms kind of make it work.
Okay, so that's an interesting. We just kind of use that as like an example for a second. I have been around this charitable giving type stuff for a while, and a lot of times people. There's so many good intentions when you start a charity, right? You have all these great intentions, and then ultimately you end up going out and you get donations and maybe do some events, and the person that starts it gets tired. And once the person that starts it gets tired, the business gets tired. The everything just sort of runs out of gas because nobody has the energy to go out and ask for money and all this kind of stuff anymore. And so I've always looked for those organizations that have a little bit of a business model behind it where, this beg for money or get donations. I hate to make that sound negative, like you're begging for money, but you're asking for a donation, and some people are happy to give because of the cause, but it's almost like sales. But if there's an ongoing business associated with it where you actually can get sizable enough to pay employees to run it for you, now it can kind of take on a life of its own.
Love it.
And the preschool business, Single Mom Strong, it sounds like that type of organization.
They did it right. I mean, anytime you can nonprofit business model is tough. If you're just asking for donations to fill the budget every year or grants, it's tough to sustain and it's tiring. And so, anytime you can integrate a business model, an economic engine to a nonprofit organization, you're going to make more of a sustainable entity, right? So, and that's what they've done with Single Mom Strong. They've got a preschool that is, they pay for. It's a fee for service program that, just a typical preschool designed and oriented for single mothers.
Yeah,
right?
and there's probably certain needs that a single mom has for her daycare that maybe maybe a different kind of household might have.
Yeah. So great organization. Like I said, I love what they're doing. They were one of our Fast Pitch participants a number of years ago. And we maintain a relationship with these organizations going forward. So the idea is they participate in Fast Pitch as the entry point. And then we've got other programs that we have for the organizations that have been through Fast Pitch.
Okay.
Like all of our programs are oriented around how can we engage donors that want to give money, but also be engaged with their time and their energy in helping to prop up these organizations.
Okay.
Like we talk about what it means to be a social venture partner is you're generous with your 5 T's. We say time, talent, treasure, testimony, and ties. And so we've heard about time, talent, treasure, right?
That's the common one.
Your money, your time, just listening, being with organizational leaders and understanding. But with testimony, it's like when I hear about today, I know about Single Mom Strong, and I'm talking to you about how great their organization is. Somebody might hear that and go, "Wow, I want to check them out," right? Mm-hmm. And with my ties, I'm pretty well connected. You're a connected guy.
TIES. Okay, ties. Okay.
So how can I take my network and use it for the benefit of these great organizations that maybe don't have the same connections and networks? That's the backyard advantage.
Yeah, that is. That's what I'm thinking. I was like, that is the backyard advantage. I love that.
So
we may have to borrow that from you guys.
You can have it, man. It's it. But it's about how can I use my position, my platform, my resources for the benefit of the community by way, in this case, of nonprofits.
So another part of the backyard advantage is interesting that one of the things we're trying to do with the backyard advantage is get the 5 T's, even though we don't spell it out quite that way, but also the interconnectivity of the club, if you will.
Yeah.
So getting the different, let's call it, in your case, maybe the nonprofits to work together, help one another.
Yeah.
And so even the portfolio companies are a part of the advantage because they've got internal abilities to help one another, even if it's not financial.
Right. Well, you've got the nonprofits, the businesses in your case, and then also with the investors and partners. Like there's just a desire for connecting with other people that are in a similar position where they have the means to invest money and to be able to do that together and share ideas, best practices. We do a lot of social events for our partners.
Okay.
So every month we have something happening with social venture partners. Like we'll do just dinner events where we bring in one nonprofit, 20 to 25 of our partners, and we just get to hear from them about some of the challenges they're facing. We just did an event 2 weeks ago called a Think Tankathon, which was kind of interesting. So we had 2 nonprofits come in, about 25 partners, and each of the nonprofits presented a big problem or a big opportunity. So the whole idea was bring us a big challenge that we can talk about.
Oh,
and
then
think
you get
through
these
together.
really experienced, maybe even high net worth in many cases, people that couldn't add their perspective.
Right. And all they had to do was commit to one night. They didn't have to join the board. They didn't have to be engaged forever, but it was a chance for them to, in a kind of high impact, light touch way, provide some strategic support and advice. And it was amazing. It was an amazing evening together. We're going to be doing more of these.
Sounds like a great place to meet successful people, right? You're giving back, but then you're doing it in this sort of club way, and maybe something that challenges you a little bit intellectually as well.
Right. Like in my case, I was fortunate to sell my company, and I really enjoyed the strategic nature of running a business and the challenges in that. And I sort of missed that to some degree. And I now have a chance through SVP to be able to do that through these kind of opportunities. And it's meaningful because these organizations deal with some challenges, and to have 10 to 15 really smart people that have a lot of great experience and life skills and business background to just come alongside, it's really kind of fun.
Okay, so at the Think Tankathon, I don't know, I might be taxing you a little bit to remember who was there in terms of like the portfolio companies, but like what you said, opportunity or problem. So a problem might look like what?
So, okay, let me remember the one. So we had 2 organizations at the last one. Juma Ventures was one.
Okay.
And the other one was CASA, Court-Appointed Special Advocates.
Oh, yeah, I know those guys.
CASA.
My wife was a CASA.
Oh, that's awesome.
Well, at Placer County. So are they geographically
Each county
based?
has their own, but we've worked with all of them, right? So this was the CASA Sacramento County. And so for CASA, what they were looking for is how do we how do we expand our number of casas? Like, what are some ideas about how we can grow our access to people like your wife that want to support their work?
Yeah, and let me just give you a little shout out for CASA, and I may butcher this a little bit, but as my wife was a CASA, I learned a little bit about it, and she was paired up with a child who was foster child.
Youth, right.
This one was kind of like living with their his grandparent, and it's all confidential, so I had forgotten most of it, but basically it was a broken home situation, but they need people to they need adults that are responsible to sort of shepherd be an advocate at the court level. Is that right? And act as a friend.
Yeah. So you're coming alongside a child in the foster system, and they've got 1,000 kids in the system, right? And they have like 150 casas right now. So there's this huge gap of hundreds or maybe 1,000 people that could come alongside a foster youth and provide that mentorship, friendship, and also be a court-appointed special advocate to be able to actually advocate for their situation. If they see something that's troublesome, they can report it.
Like they see something in the house that just doesn't feel right, look right,
Yeah.
or it's
wrong.
It's obviously blatantly,
happens.
hurtful to the child.
Yeah. So in our think tankathon, we came alongside them for about an hour and a half, just talking, asking questions, brainstorming ideas, and
Like how to get more of people like my wife.
What are some ways to do that? And we had all sorts of different creative paths we went down. I had a blast. I know our partners loved it, and we got notes from both of the organizations saying it was super beneficial. So those are the kinds of things that we're doing with Social Venture Partners to help mobilize, donors and connect dots, connect people together.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So you have Fast Pitch coming up. You've got these cool events that you do that are great for getting people together and networking and making new friends, and doing things that make you feel good. I call it putting your money where your town is. That's the way I think. Is like there's so many. We all hear buy from local small business. And we all want to do that, but there's different ways to do that. You don't have to send your money to Timbuktu when there's problems that you can't even necessarily see every day, but you can get involved in fixing them right here in our backyard.
Yeah.
So that's really cool. And sometimes it's your money, and a lot of times it's the other T's.
It's your 5 T's. That's right. I'll trademark the 5 T's.
The 5 T's. I love it. Well, the ties, I like that one. I wouldn't have guessed that one.
Ties. Yeah. No, that's good. So that's kind of what we're doing. And so again, like the idea is for a partner. So we have about 55 partners that are part of Social Venture Partners right now in 2024.
And they pay like a club fee to get in?
Yeah, they pay, this year is like $2,000-$3,000 each per. Some of them are given $5,000-$10,000. We just say, hey, give something meaningful to the fund. All of that's going into supporting the work that we're doing, right?
So you're not getting paid big bucks to do this?
No, this is the altruistic work.
Yeah. They don't, well, any nonprofit, they don't really pay. You guys are a nonprofit, but they don't really. Nonprofits aren't known for paying their their employees a lot of money. I assume that you guys. You really haven't paid employees at SVP?
No, we're pretty modest. Which is fine.
Yeah,
but it's important work, and it's. I always say I get paid in just getting to hang out with generous people. Our partners are amazing humans that know that the world's not about them, that their time, talent, treasure is for the purpose of benefiting others in some way. And so we have this shared value of generosity and community. And so honestly, I consider all these folks friends because they're people that I want to spend time with. Yeah. And so there's a huge element. In fact, I did a survey to our partners about a month and a half ago. Just asked them, hey, what motivates you to be part of Social Venture Partners? And it was is it the social stuff? Is it the leveraged investment? 2,000 becoming 100,000 type of thing? Is it the strategic? The think tankathon stuff? Social was the number one. It was like, I love all the stuff we do that's investing in nonprofits, but I also just really love connecting with other like-minded business owners, business leaders, entrepreneurs that care about being generous.
Yeah, I got some of that when I was in it. I don't know why I dropped out, I got lazy or whatever. So I had trouble showing up at everything.
Yeah.
I find myself not even participating. So sometimes we have those seasons of our life. We kind of come in and out of things. So I guess if you're in one of those seasons where you you've got a little bit of time and energy and want to help, this is a great place to do some of that kind of thing.
I mean, the typical profile of our partner, it's we've got a few retired folks. We've got a few people that have sold businesses, that have exited, that have some time and want to be involved but don't want to go start a new thing yet. We've got plenty of people that are operating a business, that are executives at some level, and also in our sense love the value of the networking that happens in social venture partners. It's good for that too. So, but it's really about trying to find people that are altruistic in nature, that care about making the world better and want to do that in community. And
when you guys measure the impact that you have, I mean, each nonprofit or each charitable organization you invest into finds a way to measure. They typically, you guys help them create, even if they're not measuring it before they get to you. At some level, they're measuring their success level. Like when you look and see how are you doing, what kinds of things do you look at to see if SVP is doing what they need to do?
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those, it's tough to measure specifically, but I just did an assessment, and you'll appreciate this. So I looked at, this is our 10th year doing Fast Pitch. So we have over 100 organizations that have been through Fast Pitch. And so I went back to the year, and nonprofits, all their financial records are public through their IRS 990 forms. Yeah. So I can see what their revenue was when they went through Fast Pitch. And then I went 3 years ahead and looked at their revenues 3 years after they went through Fast Pitch.
Simple way to measure.
As a data point. It was over 100% growth across the board.
Over a 3-year period?
Yes. And in top line revenues, and I don't fully take all credit for that with Fast Pitch, because I think there's driven leaders that are drawn to run through a Fast Pitch program, but certainly when you get that kind of support to be able to tell your story well in a concise, compelling way that moves people to action, when you get connected to donors in the community that care about and have the influence and resources to invest time or connect them to other resources, like that's going to just amplify the work that they do. So this thing works, man. I tell you, it's like it's such a fun thing to know that we're investing our time. I'm able to leverage my time across 15 organizations a year that each will benefit from all this great stuff happening with social connections, technical assistance, and financial resources. And then that's going to yield results for many years to come.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that kind of growth shows to me, at least from my perspective, that you're betting on winners, which is really what we want to do. We talked about that a little bit earlier. It's like none of us want to go invest into something that's not going to be there in 2 or 3 years.
Right.
Like, you just took my money and maybe you pissed it away or you did something. But like, if we can help you build something that's more sustainable. Think about what makes a great community. The amount of, I'm pro entrepreneur, as are you, and so we're trying to invest into companies that create jobs and drive economic growth and really, make our hometown sustainable for the long term. But sometimes we forget about the charitable organizations really being the lifeblood of all the things that maybe we've overlooked as entrepreneurs.
Well, a lot of times what government doesn't do, nonprofit gets to clean up the mess, and you've got families' lives that are at stake, and it's important work, and there's not a ton of resources available, but it's a huge sector of our economy. The nonprofit sector is massive.
It is, and I may have misspoke there when I just said this, because I want to make sure I don't diss any nonprofits out there. Most nonprofits, especially at the early stages before they get gigantic, they're entrepreneurial by nature. Right? I didn't want to draw as big a distinction as maybe I did, because I think it's very similar to for-profit entrepreneurship is when it's a nonprofit.
Well, and all the more reason why taking that business skill set and experience and just applying that and supporting a nonprofit, either by joining a board, being part of SVP, coaching, joining a think tankathon, all of those are ways to take your skill set and apply it and support these entrepreneurial organizations that don't have the same revenue model as a for-profit organization, but have the same challenges, and the same needs for, marketing and legal and HR and culture and strategy and all the things that go into running a business. just
Yeah.
a different kind of business.
It's interesting to think what a nonprofit can actually become too. We all heard of like Pride Industries, for example. And maybe not everybody's heard of them, but they started off as this little tiny nonprofit,
Right.
and now I don't know if they're $1 billion in
they're a
revenue,
billion-dollar
but they're
company.
they're
huge.
large, and they're making such an impact, and it's a lot of workforce development and different things like that, and plus manufacturing. So and it's based out of Roseville.
Yeah.
But yet they've expanded across the country, and it started as a little nonprofit. So
Well,
it
and I
happens.
mentioned Juma Ventures that went through that think tankathon. They have a similar business model. They're employing aged out foster youth, 18 to 25, and they have contracts with the Kings at the Golden One, at the Toyota Amphitheater, and they're employing these youth that they need a little extra support too.
So like a little bit like a staffing agency,
Yeah.
right? Yeah, okay.
But the reason that they need some extra support is they're hiring a workforce that's not as easy to employ, right? And so they need extra layers of management. They need extra support. Their churn can be higher, but it's meaningful because these kids need a little extra support. They've gone through a lot in their lives, and so that is what like a Juma Ventures is all about.
Well,
Super cool.
when I think about Juma Ventures, you think about, what was your first job?
I was a dishwasher.
Dishwasher.
Yeah.
You learned something by that first job.
I didn't want to do it forever.
Maybe that's what you learned. I don't want to do it
Yeah.
forever. Maybe I need to own my own restaurant. Who knows? But like we still learn something. We learned something about like somebody telling us to show up at a certain time.
Yep.
And when you work hard and get recognized, good things happen. You can actually get a raise, and
Right.
we have so much more ability, I think, a lot of times than what we understand that we have. But when you get into a job and you do a good job, it can be super rewarding. So that sounds
Yeah.
like what Juma is doing. It's a lot of probably first jobs.
A lot of first jobs, or you've got these again 18 to 25-year-olds that have come out of the foster system and they just didn't have the same mentorship and experiences and just life skills. They're just starting off on a different foot, and so to give them a chance to learn those skills in a safe, controlled environment with all the resources and supports around them is meaningful.
Yeah.
And so that's the kind of work that nonprofits do.
So you've talked a little bit about, what else did I not ask you? Is there anything else we need to talk about in terms of SVP? I want to make sure I have exhausted that to your, what you wanted to say.
No, I mean, obviously we'll be ramping up our 2025 fund. Excited to recruit some new partners for next year. We'll be doing that, end of the year and first quarter. So love to obviously get the word out that anybody's looking to, become more philanthropic and just be connected in their work like that. Love to connect.
And so that's Social Venture Partners, and there's a website, I assume?
Yeah, svpsacramento.org.
svpsacramento.org.
Yeah.
Okay. So why do you think, let me just think about how to frame this question. You've talked about why you do this. You feel this... Do you feel an obligation? You've talked about the different rewards that you get out of, that you see. It's fun to see that, but why do you do this kind of work? And there's a lot of people that don't do that, and
Right.
why do some do and some don't? You think? I'm kind of getting philosophical.
Yeah, I would
a
say
little
you're asking a pretty philosophical question, but I can share that. For me, I guess there's a little bit of obligation. I have the means to do it. Why not? I'm still mid-career. I'm 43. Got some gas in the tank. Why not? What else am I going to do? There's some thoughts in my head that swirl around. But I think at the end of the day, it's about legacy, right? I mean, we're here on this earth for a little bit of time, and we have the ability to make a difference or do something. Whether it's starting a business and employing people, it's amazing. Whether it's investing in a community, whether it's however we're wired, how can we use that to make the world better? So I guess there's a little bit of a purpose for me in just using my skill sets and resources to make the world better. And in this case, I've found a real passion for our region. Again, I mentioned my time and work that I did in Orangevale and Fair Oaks. That's my backyard. And then I see Sacramento as kind of my region. And so I'm investing in both places at different levels. And I think it's also fun to be connected socially with, again, like-minded friends and to do this together. Because it's not hard to give money away. as you know. I mean, it's not hard to find a nonprofit that says I need whatever, Red Cross or American Cancer Society, and they're all great causes. But can I give my money in a way that I can also come alongside and give my time, or my time and my talents and my testimony and my ties, like back to the 5 T's. Like, can I roll that in so I'm actually spending time building capacity and some sustainable change and investing my entrepreneurial skill sets and passions in helping nonprofits become better.
Yeah.
Like,
I've always thought, work from the inside out, get me right. That's a tough enough job to get myself right.
Right.
But if I can find a way to get myself right, then maybe I can have a little more gas in the tank to help my family and my friends, and then my community, and then obviously our country. But it starts with working from the inside out, getting me right, and getting my family and friends, and the local community right. And when I look at the charities in our local, in our local area, they aren't filled with the same level of bureaucracy that maybe, a multi-billion-dollar organization might have, whether it be a large corporation or a large nonprofit. There's these layers of admin that you don't have when you have, a founder-led, startup, or a founder-led, single mom strong. I'm sure there's not people getting paid, $500,000 a year plus, and layers of management.
No, and that's the fun of it, right? It's just like you can be scrappy and nimble and entrepreneurial and do it for a great cause, knowing that you're making the world better. You're actually changing lives through the work you do. Okay,
so in terms of building from the inside out and your family, you guys have a family farm that has flowers. And I have to touch on this because I've got these 74 acres that, I've got my family out there, but we don't have any, there's no business attached to it necessarily. So your flower business, I want to make sure I question you on that a little bit because I've been intrigued. How much work is that? You said you had some extra weeds this year because of the weather.
Yeah.
So tell me about how that business works real quickly.
Well, my wife, we live in Orangevale. My wife and I, we've got 2 kids. About 6-7 years ago, my kids were at that point 12 and 11. And I thought, and there was 10 acres next door to us, and it came for sale. So we thought, hey, it'd be fun to buy that and do something with it. No plans. And then my wife goes, hey, in April of 2018, she goes, hey, we should become flower farmers. Let's do it. All right. So we planted a 1/2 acre of flowers. I went and got my master gardener certification that the county has a program. So I learned how to do some basic farming, and we had a fun year. It was awesome. But we were doing this, like we would pick the flowers and we would take them to farmers markets. And it was hot. And
did you sell them?
We'd make like a couple $100 at the market. And I'm going, okay, this
You're
isn't.
Like, wait, I built software companies.
I'm like, if I'm going to do this, I'm going to do this because I want to and it's fun. So COVID hits and we couldn't go to the market. So we did this U-pick thing where people now, they could come out to our farm and pick their own bucket. And it's just exploded. And so we've done that now for the last 4 or 5 years.
So people drive out to you, walk around, pick some flowers off of your property, and then do you help them cut them?
No, I give them a bucket.
Yeah.
It's $40. You get a bucket, fill it up with as many flowers as you can fit in there. And you see people can put some flowers in those buckets.
What kind of flowers you guys have?
It's all like wildflowers, zinnias, sunflowers, statice, rudbeckia. I mean, I've got 40 different kinds of flowers growing. 2 acres now, 2 acres that we grow. We've got a lavender field.
So, but when they pick the flowers, they're not supposed to take the roots and all that, right?
No, they just cut them. We give them clippers. They cut the flowers. They take it home. A lot of people, it's a ton. I mean, you get like big old buckets. So a lot of people will take them and they'll make flower arrangements for their neighbors, for their friends. So it's a way to spread joy. They love just the experience of it. And again, me being so purpose-driven, like this is the purpose for me is about how can we make a more beautiful experiences for families to come together.
Everybody's home is a little bit prettier. And,
So, and it's not that much work. It's work, but it's I've got it pretty systematized now, and I've got one guy that helps me out on the farm. So
okay, so you don't have to have a team of people selling to the public necessarily, or there's certain times a day when it's open to go.
It's just
pick?
once a week.
Oh, once a week you can come in and pick, and so there's
they make a reservation on the website, so I know who's coming. They show up. We've got a nice barn. It's a fun experience. We've got a little shop in the barn, and it's fun because like all these, it's mostly moms, Instagram moms. So they come out and they take pictures of themselves in the fields and they put it on social media, and then all their friends go online and book tickets. And so it's become this pretty self-sufficient thing.
I don't mean hilarious in a bad way.
No, it's
it
cool.
makes me laugh to think about, because Instagram, you see all kinds of stuff, right?
You do. And again, it's a very beautiful space, and it's a great experience. Everybody's happy when they come out.
How much is a bucket of flowers?
$40.
$40, and you can spend as long as you want out there.
As long as you want.
Okay. Get all the pictures. It's the photo op.
That's it.
The photo op alone is worth $40.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, for us, we do this. It's not a huge money maker. It's fun for us. It pays our property taxes and a little bit of labor, but we just enjoy it.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, so what else do we need to know about Brad Squires that we didn't cover today?
I think we've covered quite a bit. It's a lot about me. I will throw at the end here. So we are changing our name from Social Venture Partners to Sacramento Venture Philanthropy.
Okay.
So we were part of Social Venture Partners International, and we're kind of branching off onto our own. So probably by the time this thing launches, we'll be called Sacramento Venture Philanthropy, SVP still. So it all still works, and it'll take some time to roll the new brand out. But so that's our plan.
I love it. And you have a backyard advantage. You're part of the backyard advantage.
I'm an investor in the Growth Factory funds. Yeah.
100%.
I love what you're doing. Got poker nights coming up, which I'm super excited about.
We're supposed to have one at your barn, I think, at one point. It got canceled somehow. I don't know what happened. So
we should recycle that idea.
I love it. Yeah. Okay. Thanks, Brad. I appreciate everything you do for the backyard. Our backyards are colliding like crazy in a good way. And I really appreciate you, man.
Sounds good, Mark. I appreciate you having me on. It's been a blast.
Thank you.
Thanks for watching today's show. My goal for every episode is that you find a takeaway, something tangible you can use in your business today. And if you have a comment about a favorite takeaway, feel free to put it in the box below. And if you have a topic that you'd like me to bring up on the show, don't forget to let me know. And also, don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel if you want to learn more about entrepreneurship. Because at Haney Biz, we are always by your side.